Okay, I think. Got it. Okay. So welcome to our Beyond the Surface Women's Mental Health Unveiled, guys, where we embrace change and we empower growth. We just put this together just to recognize Mental Health Awareness Month. You know, us women in general, we give a lot, and it's not necessarily reciprocated often enough, not as often as our body needs. And so we're just super excited to be able to put something together and, just to be amongst women who operate like we do, or experience, typical day-to-day stuff that we experience, and may not always have like the safe space or a person or outlet to go to. So this is why we have this. And yes, we're so glad to have you guys here. Before I move on, where is everybody from? Where's everybody from? I'm in California.
Yo, Baltimore, Maryland.
Okay. I was thinking, I got you confused with Pennsylvania. Look at me, I'm still learning. You guys can also type it in the chat as well if you don't want to unmute. It's okay.
California.
Okay.
Cali.
Cool.
Houston, Texas.
Okay, Texas.
I'm in El Paso, Texas.
Okay, nice. Welcome to our platform. Welcome to the room.
A little bit. That's nice. Okay. So what we're gonna get into today, this is our agenda, guys. So we're gonna introduce what mental health awareness is about, which is our co-host Monica is going to be doing. And you guys are gonna get to know a little bit more about her, and she's gonna discuss emotional intelligence. And then you guys are gonna a little bit look at, can you guys sense my nerves? Because I've just spoken cursive right now.
Right.
I really did.
And I'm thinking in cursive while you're speaking in cursive. Okay.
You guys are gonna learn about me in a little bit after that. And I'm gonna be tackling how we are designed to survive, okay? Because a lot of us are not aware that a lot of the things that we experience are natural. And so I really, really want to ingrain that into you all today, because it's life-changing when you understand that there is nothing wrong with you, okay? And then we're going to talk about the foundations of self-care, because us women, that is the first thing we like to neglect, right? It's everybody else, especially if you're a mother, especially if you have a partner, and then you're working to, I'm telling you, sometimes that brushing the teeth thing, it just be the last thing on my list, okay? Like, can I be honest here? And then we're going to have a transparency session where if there are any questions you guys have after everything that we discussed, we're going to answer. It's time to engage. And then we'll also, we have another member. Give me 1 second here to get back. All right. She in yet? Oh, she's in. Okay. And thank you guys for your patience.
Yes.
Welcome, Krista. You haven't missed much. I just introduced, our Beyond Mental Health. Okay, look, I'm saying it. I should just move on because my nerves is not playing with me today.
Okay. It's all right.
But yes, welcome. We're just going over the agenda, everything we're going to be talking about. We're very, happy to have you here with us during this event. And after we talk about our transparency session, we have discussions. We'll let you guys know how you guys can keep in contact with us from there. And without further ado, I'm going to hand it over to Coach Mo.
Hello, ladies. Hello. Happy Tuesday, Taco Tuesday, however you like to celebrate your Tuesday afternoon. All right.
Got it. Okay, there you go. Oh, Monica, you're muted.
I guess that's the first lesson learned, to unmute. I should have learned that from work. I do it every single day. How you ladies doing? Thank you for being here. May is Mental Health Awareness Month, as you can see, and it was started by Mental Health America in 1949, and it is observed nationally. So what better time for us to come together? You know, it was Mother's Day month and it's Women's Day in the month of May. So what better time for us to come together and connect and shed light on mental health issues and discuss things that are overlooked in our community as women. Mental health and mental wellness is essential to our well-being because we face unique mental health challenges influenced by many factors, hormonal changes, societal pressures, life's transitions like motherhood. We know how that can affect your life if you're a mom. Menopause, something that's playing with me right now at 50 years old. Menopause is playing. So it's just a lot of things that play a part on our mental wellness. Because when we think of mental wellness, it doesn't have to be the extreme of, you know, people that suffer from bipolar or, you know, schizophrenia or other mental illnesses. But we struggle with mental wellness and mental well-being every single day. It won't click.
Oh, you went back. Okay.
There we go.
Yes, there we go.
So get to know Mo. My name is Monica Cooper. My family call me Moni, but most people call me Mo. So that's probably the name that I'll go by, Coach Mo. I actually sat up last night, before last night, and I came up with this bio that I was going to read to y'all, but it was way too scripted. And, you know, it was like, no, that's not how my life is. So I just felt like I can just tell y'all my story myself so y'all can get to know a little bit about myself. So as I mentioned, my name is Monica Cooper, and I was born and raised in Charm City of Baltimore, Maryland. But my mind right now is in Jamaica somewhere, as you can see. And I was born over West Baltimore. We consider in Baltimore, we have sides, north, south, east, west. So I was born in West Baltimore with my mother, and I lived in a house with some very strong women, my grandmother, my great-great-grandmother, my great-grandmother. So I was raised in a house with a lot of wisdom. Unfortunately, at 9 years old, my mom, I found her dying from a drug overdose, a heroin overdose. My sister, she was only 6 months at the time. It was just us two. I had her in my arms because one thing about my life was I wasn't raised in a two-parent household, but my mother always made it her priority to keep me connected with my dad. So I went to my dad's house every single weekend. Father's Day, I would make those fake little clay ashtrays that we used to make in class and all of that stuff. But I had a good relationship with my dad. But one weekend, I came from his house and I came home and my mom wasn't there. And I was happy. I was a big sister. I was a new big sister. So I got my little sister and went up in the room, and my mom finally came home. I was excited to see her. And she went into the bathroom and she never made it out. I started hearing like this aggressive banging sound, which, you know, drew my attention. And I went to the bathroom and she was at that time, well, now I'm grown now, but I know she was dying from a drug overdose. So that's how I lost my mom at 9 years old. From that point, me and my sister were separated. She went to live with her dad. I went to live with mine over East Baltimore. So that's where I've been raised at ever since, where Memorial Stadium is, well, the old Memorial Stadium and stuff like that. I lived in a house of all men. So I went from being in a house with all females to being the only girl in the house with all men. But like I said, I had a good dad. I can't speak, you know, anything bad about my dad. He eventually allowed, drugs got the best of him, and he eventually passed away from HIV or AIDS when I was 22 years old. So that was something else that I had to deal with. So pretty much, but even before him passing away, as I got older and he got deeper into his addiction, we kind of bumped heads and grew apart. So I was emancipated at 16. I've been on my own since 16. I became a mom at 17, but fortunately, because of that inner drive and motivation that I always had and I was blessed to have, I still graduated on time, even having my oldest child in my last year in high school. I graduated from high school and continued the journey through life to find my way as a mom. My first baby was definitely my experimental baby. She went through most of the bumps and bruises the longest with me, but I'm grateful for her. But life, it was challenging. It was definitely challenging not having a mom. I couldn't go to my mom and ask her for things and get that support that a lot of us had from our mothers. So it was difficult. I had to learn a lot of things on my own. But as a young woman with my own young children, eventually at 20, I had my second child. And I had to provide for them. I felt like my back was against the wall. And because I had assistants paying my bills with them at that time, but that got old. I wanted to support myself. So an opportunity presented itself for me to make some quick cash. So, quick cash to a 20-year-old that needs money, that's like a great opportunity. So what did I get introduced? Exotic dancing. I got introduced to exotic dancing. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to start this little career and I'm going to get some money, build up my cash and take care of my kids. It take me about a month. I should be able to do this like in a month and get it together. So that lasts for 15 years. That was my life for 15 years. Players Club and all that stuff you watch on the TV and all of that, I lived it. And I lived it. And so, it's a world in itself. Unfortunately, I got caught up. I didn't get caught up in a lot of things that I could have, thank God. But it was a lot of violence involved. I got in a lot of altercations because it's territorial. It's just like a guy that's outside, I guess, selling drugs on the block. It's territorial. So the same thing with females in the club. We're trying to make money. We all are in competition with one another. And sometimes that can cause conflict. So I did a lot of fighting. I got stabbed up by a customer one time down there and could have lost my right leg. I had over 260 stitches in my leg and a draining tube in my right leg. But by the grace of God, I got my leg. So that was just one part of my journey. And throughout those years, I tried to stop. I tried to get little jobs. I worked at the stadium part-time, retail, I did all of that kind of stuff, clean toilets, did anything I could as a mom to try to keep food on the table. But that fast money, it calls you. It's addictive. It's like it's a whole addictive lifestyle. But at 35, I eventually got away from it. And I've been working regular since I've bartended. I went to school for massage therapy. I've done that a point in my life, but that wasn't my thing. So fast forward to now. I work for the federal government. I've been with the federal government for 10 years now. True rags, the richest story, or should I say heels, the steel toe boots story, because I was a sheet metal mechanic for 7 years for the Department of the Navy. I grind metal, work with all men, grind metal, cut metal, and all of that kind of stuff. My life every day was hard hats, steel toe boots, jeans. So it felt special on the weekends sometimes to get to put some heels on and look like a lady, you know what I mean? It's like, wow, but it still wasn't where it was meant for me to be. I was married. That's what actually led me to Virginia. I was in Virginia for 11 years. I was married, but unfortunately that did not work. We were together 10 years. I don't take anything away from my ex-husband. He was a good husband, but guess what? I wasn't ready to be a wife. A lot of times as women, we direct the focus on the man, what he's doing and what he's not doing and what he should be doing and what he shouldn't be doing. But it's like, do we actually take time to reflect on us? Are we ready to be a wife? Are you ready to make those sacrifices? And unfortunately, at that time, I was not ready. So that led to a divorce. And my son, I have 4 children. My oldest is 30, she'll be 34. I have one that'll be 31, and I have a set of twins that will be 22. But unfortunately, back in 2020, my son was murdered. He was my only boy. He was a victim of gun violence. So that's a whole nother situation and thing in my life that was transitional. That was like one of the worst experiences in my life. You know, I had found my mother dying. You know, I've been molested. My father passed away from AIDS. I pretty much raised myself as an emancipated teen, learning things on my own. But through all of those struggles, that phone call that I got in that grocery store that night telling me that my son had been shot was, I just can't describe the feeling. You know, I ran out that market as quick as I can. Because for one, I didn't even know if the phone call was true. You know, if somebody just called me, I heard your son just got shot, you know, and I ran home, started calling different hospitals. And eventually I found out it was true. And I was on hold when I found out he was at a certain hospital. I was on hold for a while. And the doctor got on the phone. You know, I was holding on to that hope, right? It was like, well, maybe it's just a gunshot wound to the hand or to the arm. You know, when you hold on to that hope, it still gives you that sense of optimism. You know what I mean? So I still at that time wasn't like, it's over. But when she got on that phone and told me, I'm sorry, but your son didn't make it. You know, when you see it on TV, it's one thing, but when you live it, it's a different thing. I mean, all I could do was just drop to my knees. And I know my neighbors for miles probably heard that scrunching cry that I had, because that was like the most painful news that I could have ever gotten in my life. You know, I really can't describe that pain, but thankfully, through the grace of God and family support, I was able to get through that. You know, I'm still struggling. Grief is something, there is no time on grief. You know, that's why I don't like, you know, when people go through stuff and people try to tell them, well, you should do that. You cannot tell somebody how they should grieve. You know, because even as a grieving mother, I can't tell another mother how to grieve. Everybody, you know, takes things differently and reacts differently. So, you know, but that support got me through that point in my life. So eventually, that was the last straw of Virginia for me. I was ready to come home. So I looked for a job, and I eventually, I got a job in an administrative position for the United States Commission of Civil Rights. And that's where I've been for almost 3 years now. And I'm happy with that position. I'm good, but you know how you have a elevate throughout points in your life, but you still feel like something is missing. It's like, you know, there is just another place for you, you know. So that happened for me recently, because my last relationship breakup in this past February, you know, anytime in the past when I broke up, I would get material things. I'd break up and get a car. I get an apartment, go treat myself to some jewelry. Like, yeah, I'm gonna show you that you're not gonna get me down. I'm gonna show you how it's done, right?
Come on.
Yeah, but for
Yes.
some reason with this breakup in February, it was nothing material that I wanted. It was something more internal. It was like I was seeking some grounding. I was seeking some growth. I was seeking some elevation. So I just started researching personal development courses. And, you know, when you want better for yourself, you start looking for it. You know, you start searching for it. That's how it is that's how you know when you ready to start elevating up that ladder, because things start changing. Yeah, your mind frame change. So I started like seeking out things that can better me as a woman. And I started coming across different coaches on Facebook and things of that nature. But it was one in particular who got my attention. She was a well put together woman, you know, and she was well dressed, and she was speaking. But when she started speaking about her story, it like just drew me in, because I'm like, wow, like just it like goes to back to looks can be deceiving, because just looking at her, you would think, okay, she has it all together, you know, like life just been so good for her and everything is good. But she started telling her story, and I'm like, wow. And it drew me in. And then it just made me started looking at myself like, wow, well, you have a story. You were molested at 6 and 7 years old. You had your first child at 17. You watched your mother die of a drug overdose. It's like I just started like taking account of all the stories in my life and everything that was going on. It was like, well, that's me. I saw myself in her. And that was the spark that I needed to get me to this platform where I am today, because it was more that I wanted to give. And it's more that I want to see for my queens and my ladies, because I know we bear a lot of weight, you know, and we need a place to be comfortable. We need a place to be transparent. We need a place, we need to see ourselves and each other and know that we're not going through, you know, all of these things alone, you know. So that's how, you know, I got to where I am, and my desire to coach, my desire to guide, and my desire to empower and uplift. So that's a little bit about myself. I'm sure you like, well, that's enough.
That was deep, but
that's
no,
that's enough.
It was amazing. You know,
Yep.
I'm sure all of us in some form or another can identify and see ourselves somewhere in there.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we bringing it today. It's mental health awareness. Can we be real? Like that's the whole, we want to be real with y'all. We just
Right.
want to be the real deal. Yeah.
So, okay, can we get to the next one?
Yes, ma'am. You got it.
See, it won't.
It says you got it. There we go. Wait, that's bad.
It keeps going back. Yeah. So emotional intelligence. So when I heard emotional intelligence, I'm not gonna lie to you ladies, I think it is like top secret CIA, you know, like top file in the vote in the Pentagon or something. Emotional intelligence, right? That's what I think, you know, when I think about emotional intelligence, but that's not what emotional intelligence is. Emotional intelligence is recognizing and understanding your own emotions, your strengths, your weaknesses, your values, and how they affect others. Emotional intelligence is the ability to recognize and understand, you know, and I'm gonna tell you exactly a situation later on in the story about these emotional intelligence, but there are different components that make up emotional intelligence. And one of them is self-awareness. Now, as you can see in this slide, it's a lot of stuff going on. I mean, this doesn't even touch the surface of all the emotions that we go through, you know, but this is just some of the stuff we struggle with and deal with. Our beliefs, our thoughts, our patterns, our passions, things we like, things we don't like, you know, things we need, knowing how to separate our needs and wants, inspirations, aspirations, you know. But self-awareness is knowing what you are feeling, and why, and how your emotions impact your behaviors and your thoughts. And the example that I have is the other night. I went out Saturday night to celebrate a friend's birthday, and we got a section. You know, that's the thing. You get your sections, you can sit down and relax, right? That's what 50-year-olds do now. I didn't do that when I was 20 and 30. I wish I would be, and I wanted to be on the floor partying, but now it's like, okay, I can chill. So I'm sitting there, but I probably got up for something and I got back. This woman sat on the back of my chair, right? On the back of my chair. And she had her leg like stretched across. So like out of my peripheral, when I sat down, I'm looking at her heel. You would think like she was my friend or, you know, partner or something, the way she was sitting down. That awareness that I'm talking about is understanding that at that moment, I came irritated, right? I instantly became irritated because it's like the audacity of her to sit her behind here on my chair, you know, and then stretch her feet out. You know, it's like, where is the common courtesy? So one thing I did was recognize like, okay, I'm getting irritated, right? So in the past, that wouldn't even have been an issue. I'm gonna tell you how I probably would have went down in the past, you know, but thank God for change, right? But we're not gonna talk. But I'm talking about today. You know, what I did was I removed myself. I got up and walked away because, you know, for one, to calm down and collect my thoughts. but that irritated me. So you have to be in tune with what you're feeling and why. What's causing you to feel this way? You know what I mean?
Triggers. There you go. Your
Triggers. Yep,
triggers.
they are. That's exactly triggers, and your triggers for your emotions and the impact that they have on your thoughts. So I have a question for some of you ladies. What are some of your triggers? I'm curious to know. Y'all feel free to come up off of silent and tell me something that just get your panties in a bunch. Come on. No, nothing. Nobody has triggers. Wow. Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yeah.
I can hear you.
Okay. I can share something that happened just today. I was on a Teams meeting at work. I'll make it brief. I was on a Teams meeting at work with my team. I'm kind of a team lead, and it's four of us, and then had another department that we were meeting with, and it was the manager from that department and their subordinate. So, in any event, I set up the call to share a concern that we had on our side. Something wasn't looking right on our side, and I wanted to address it with the manager, find out were we doing something wrong, or was it just something that should be on their task list instead. And anyway, one of the team members on my side, she had been out for the last week, although she was aware there was a situation where they have this call. The other three of us had been working through it for the last week, trying to figure it out. Long story short, it turns out that it's a mathematical error that was causing the problem. And now this is our team member, right? But she says in the middle of the meeting, she says, well, it's just simple math. This is so embarrassing.
Oh,
And
okay. Right, yeah,
that really struck a nerve with me. Not to mention the other two ladies, they're not as experienced as myself and the lady who made the comment. And I just, I felt embarrassed for all of us. I was just like, cannot believe she just said that. But I cleaned it up, and I basically took responsibility for it and just said, well, hey, I've never had to do this worksheet before. So if it's wrong, you can blame it on me. That's fine. And I'm glad that we got it fixed so easy and lovely.
Right.
Everybody have a great day.
And you didn't degrade anyone else in the process.
Right. I did call her afterwards to say, is something wrong? Is there a problem? Because, that was pretty harsh. And, I said, I don't know how it impacted the other ladies, but I felt it was really harsh for you to say that. So I didn't really jump on her or anything, but I felt like I needed to say something.
Right.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't political.
I think you handled that beautifully.
That's like the moment when the record scratch, okay, all right. So I mean, but that definitely is a trigger because people will push your buttons and that's it. But there are certain components that make up, self-awareness. You have to do self-assessments. You have to be aware of your strengths, your weaknesses, and this involves what your capabilities are, your limitations. Seek feedback. That's one thing I know we all are guilty of, that constructive criticism. We always tell somebody, girl, if I say something, just tell me, let me know. And as soon as it do, you get an attitude, right? You instantly feel some kind of way that somebody called you out on your stuff, right? But guess what? I mean, feedback is important. That's how you grow. That's how you learn. You're getting that feedback that, there's my sister, and trust me, she is the main one who give me the feedback. That's probably why she came on the screen during this part of the discussion. But it's being open and willing to grow. You got to have self-confidence. You got to have a sound sense of your self-worth and your capabilities. And there are benefits from being self-aware.
Okay, excuse me, real quick. Before you get into the benefits, Leah wants to say something real quick.
Okay, go ahead. Sure.
My daggone mute thing. All of my buttons and everything. Every time I push them, they're not doing anything. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I wasn't. So, back when you were talking about the constructive criticism, I literally just had a situation happen today where I gave constructive criticism to my team member, and I made her cry.
Oh, wow.
I was not mean or anything, but I just let her know to her face what a lot of people say about her behind her back.
Oh,
And I told her it's about to cost her her job.
Mm.
And I had a real, she's younger than me, so I said, I'm being your big sister right now.
right.
And
Right.
I, had her, gave her some points. She hasn't been in city government. I work in the mayor's office here in Baltimore City. I've
Wow.
been working in city government for 12 years now. She's only been here about 3 or 4 years. And she came from being an activist in the community. So
Ooh,
I had to
okay.
let her know a lot of the things that she did out in the community. She can't bring it to City Hall. You have
Right.
Right.
to operate. You have to operate differently, and it's causing not so good of a reputation for you.
Right.
So, and I had a question in, because she had, and in some point she had become combative.
Mhm.
So the question that I have is, in those moments when you are supplying constructive criticism or even receiving those criticisms, how do we set up a boundary where I'm not coming off like I'm standoffish and I don't want to be bothered, but yet I know that you're getting ready to trigger me?
Mm. I'll let you take that, Coach Tay, because you know
Okay.
more about that, right?
Okay. I want to say, I mean, honestly, but since we being transparent, because I would love that for the transparency session, but I kind of like this throughout. So what I would say, right, because it touches in on that self-awareness. You're self-aware that this is a little, right? You already said, like, I know I'm not coming off as this. I know I'm careful and I'm intentional about the language that I'm using, right? I'm aware that she's a little sensitive, she's escalating. So you're doing everything you can do on your part, right? And your boundaries is what you're already doing. You're maintaining that professionalism, that standard. You're not escalating. You're being aware of everything that's going on. Like this can go south real quick. I need to find an exit if she do, because I'm not gonna engage. So
Right.
ultimately, there's a thing typically when we are having these kinds of discussions, right? We can't control anyone else's emotions and how they're going to respond, just like they can't tell us how to respond and control how we're going to respond to the feedback. And we have to walk into that also with the self-awareness, right? With the understanding, like she can either respond neutrally or she can
Right.
be agitated. And if it's an agitation, we have to confine a personal boundary within ourselves to not take it personally. That's where we as women typically, it becomes something that's personal, and it's not personal. For her, it's personal because there's an internal conflict that's going on, that she took
Right.
this feedback personally, which was not personally at all. It was just something that helped you grow and develop, because this is, what I'm saying, because I care for you and I want you, what I'm saying, to improve in your progress as a person. If you do, go somewhere else, that this is something you would work on. This is the same as a manager would tell you, you know what I'm saying? But I'm coming to you, woman to woman, just looking out for you, versus going about talking about the other, constituents. Hey, this is her situation,
Right.
blase. But we have to not take it personal, because they are going to project, and just having
Right.
these kinds of conversations, it really reveals to people what their internal conflicts are. Because if they have that, then maybe it stems in childhood, right? They didn't have proper regulating coping skills, right? But you can't be responsible for someone else's emotions. And if that's something too, like, communicate that, right? So typically when I text people, because I'm very direct, because I'm aware of these things, I'm aware of defense mechanism that comes up and different things, which I'll talk about later, is just to say, hey, this was my intention. Anything else that comes out from that, even if you don't want to say it, you would understand, it's projecting, and it's not the reality of the situation here.
Right.
Yeah. So just, staying within that and understand, okay, you need a moment, go away. That's
Yeah.
understandable. And just, yeah, you handled that very well. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, okay. Because I thought I was being a bully when she started
No,
crying. I felt like
No,
I was a
no,
bully,
ma'am.
and I said, "Oh no, I didn't mean to
No,
make her
ma'am.
cry."
no, it's
Okay.
and also you got to understand it's no good way to hear that you're not doing a good job.
The
You
truth
know what I'm saying?
hurts.
So you have to allow her to go through her emotions and her awareness as well, because she just got hit with something, that's hurtful to her. Now it has sparked her emotions. So it's like, okay, well, I'm gonna let her have her time. Because you know, we are caught up in our emotions, we do get a little upset, things get worse, situation get out of control, it just becomes a whole, but it's like, okay, I just shared something with her that I know. And that's the thing, when you know you're going, it's like when you get ready to tell somebody passed away, right? You know, they get ready to cry, break down, and you got to prepare yourself to give that news that someone has just passed. So it's the same thing when you get ready to tell somebody something that kind of discredits their performance or whatever. You got to understand, like, I'm getting ready to say this to her, but I already know it might spark something because it's some negative news for her, you know. So you might be looking at it positively, like I'm giving her an opportunity to better herself so she can keep her job. You looking at the positive that can come out of it, but she's looking at it negative. So that's
Ooh,
that.
don't get into this. This is yes.
But
Great
I'm
question.
just I'm going to move forward from this since we got in there because I don't want to spend no time. So what is self-regulation? This is one of the second components of emotional intelligence. It's the ability to control your thoughts and emotions in stressful situations. Woo! This the hard one right here.
That young
I'm gonna
lady.
tell you right now, you can be aware of your feelings all you want, but the regulator, that's what I'm saying. That's the whole different thing. That's the thing that will have you realizing, Lord, I'm not where I need to be. You thought you were.
Right.
You thought
Jesus, you're gonna have to
until
come
that
off the
one
cross for this
situation
one.
came, and then you be like Saturday, speaking back, reflecting back on Saturday. You know, it's like, oh, I could just take her foot and snatch her right off the back of this couch. That's what I could do, right? But I'm not going to do that, right? But so self-regulation. You see these different three different faces. You got somebody that look like they cool, somebody that look like they trying to talk themselves out of smacking somebody, and somebody that's just like, you know, it's about your emotions and regulating them. And I'm gonna tell you what can test your regulation the most: driving in traffic. Driving. I'm telling you right now, if you drive, and I see both of y'all
it's a
driving
couple,
right
yeah.
now, y'all better regulate. You better regulate because people have no coof on the road. They run red lights, they cut you off, they don't care. But anyway, self-regulation is a component of emotional intelligence that involves managing your emotions and managing your thoughts, behaviors in a way that is constructive and adaptive. It's a control over your impulses and the ability to manage stress and stay focused on your goals, even when you find something to be challenging. This component is a little bit more challenging, as we already touched, because once you have identified your emotions, now that you have become aware, it's the testament to how much control you got, self-control. That's what the difference is. So I had an example about driving, and I'm not going to use this example. I'm going to use one that's not even related to human beings that will regulate you. When you call to take care of business on the phone and that automated system that never get right what you want to hear, you like representative, and you like having a fit. You like starting to yell in the phone like you're talking to a person. You like losing control. You really upset, and you talking to an automated system, right? That will have you testing your regulations. I'm telling you right now.
Just throw the whole device away. I'm telling you.
Yeah. Regulating your emotions make the difference between walking away a little bit irritated, right? And still being able to get over it, or fully becoming engaged. And now the situation and just totally explode. So that's what the difference in regulation is. And what are the components of that? We got to maintain emotional self-control, which includes managing your anger. We all works in progress. Come on now, tell it. We all works in progress, but we all got our frustration, anxiety, and other strong emotions. We got to, it consists of getting control of your impulse control. Think before you act. Think before you speak. How about that? You know, we got to think. So it all goes to self-control.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, and she just said it today. Matter of fact, was it, how am I, Tavon? Am I pronouncing it right? Tavon? Yep. So self-regulation, I was getting ready to ask, like, how many of y'all simply know, have been encountered with somebody that don't know how to talk to people? Do they test your regulation? You know how people like trying to talk to you like you a child, you at work, they trying to talk to you like, you look behind you like, who, you want to know who they talking to? Like, who you talking to? Like, I'm telling you, we are presented every day with situations that will make your try to throw your well-being off balance. But we just got to become aware, because we can't let people control us. You know, it be that one person in traffic in the morning that will mess your whole day up. Everything that through now, your lunch ain't right. Now you're mad at the people at the lunch cake. Look, everything just a domino effect from that one person that sparks you off. But who has the control? Do they have control of you? They must. If you allow them to mess your whole day up, now when your food order come out right, you relating that to the person that threw it off earlier. Who has the control? So that's something that we need to think about. And it's a process. It's not overnight, but you just, once you get that awareness, once you become aware of your emotions and what you're feeling, and then you start regulating them, everything will come. Everything will come. And what are some ways to develop? Mindfulness and meditation. You know, do reflection assessments, journal, you know, coping straight, take a deep breath. You know, some people like to squeeze on the stress ball. That doesn't work for me. You know, I already got crooked fingers and everything else. I don't want to sit up there and squeeze on no ball. So the stress ball doesn't work for me, but whatever strategies you have, even if it's reading a book, going to get some fresh air, just find ways to cope with your stress.
1 second, we have someone showing up there a little bit late, but I'm gonna welcome in Paige. I don't know if you're in yet, but welcome, Paige.
That's my daughter. That's my daughter.
Oh, welcome.
Yes, that's my 30-year-old baby.
The one who's been through it all.
Yep. So, you know, whatever you feel is necessary or you deem necessary to regulate those emotions that you do, that you're going through, just do it. Because, you know, the consequence, trust me, I have thrown myself out to the wolves several times by just acting first and thinking about it later, especially when you in the central booking and you can't go nowhere because you made a decision now that you confined. So it's just not worth it. You definitely got to think about your decisions. So next, it won't. Here we go. Here we go. It always take back. So another component of emotional intelligence is motivation. It's an inner vision of what is important in life, a joy in doing something, curiosity in learning, and a desire for change. That's why I am here with you today, ladies, because of that motivation, my desire to change and me wanting more for myself. So with motivation, to me, the internal motivation is the best. You don't need no outside sources. Once you make your mind up, like me, I didn't need confirmation from anybody. Once I decided that this is the journey that I wanted to take, I was motivated. I started putting one foot in front of the other, and there was no looking back. I didn't need confirmation. I didn't need validation. But motivation is another essential component of essential intelligence, because it refers to your inner drive to achieve goals and pursue them. It's a mindfulness and a fulfillment. How many of y'all right now on here was motivated to go on a trip or do something, but your friends didn't want to go? You know how they do, yeah? Girl, I don't have no babysitter or whatever the case may be, but you were so motivated to go on that trip, you went by yourself. Nobody, that's right. See, there she go. That's what that motivation to do. Motivation, nobody can deter you from doing something once you are motivated for doing that, right? She went on that trip, no matter who was going, she was going to go. But when you lack motivation, this is what happens. People can talk you out of doing the stuff that you want to do as well. And that's what we got to stop allowing. You know, it's not about,
Boundaries.
you know, yeah, because you know how people like, well, I'm not going to share what I'm gonna do because people, they don't wish the best. Look, I'm going to share it to the world. Nobody can stop me from getting what's meant for me to have. It's mine. I will get on Facebook. I don't care. You know what I'm saying? I will claim it. It's mine. But what you can't do is lack that self-motivation where you allowing people to give you so many opinions about what you're doing, where it stops you from doing what you want to do. You gotta stop. You can't allow that to happen because people will do that.
Preach to the choir.
You said preach to the choir. The key aspects of a motivation is achievement and drive. You got to stay committed and dedicated. Like I said, when we really want something, y'all, you know how we are dedicated. We will make it happen. I don't care. Nothing can stop us, right? But why, when it comes to certain things that we want for ourselves, we sell ourselves short. We start lacking that motivation. You know, it's like, no, don't cheat yourself. We were blessed with one life to live. We not cats. We don't get 9 of them. We get this one opportunity to make this grand entrance and this grand finale. We got to make the best of it. I always say, what is that dash between your birth year and your death year going to say about your life? You know, you do it. Anything that you want to do, stay motivated. If it's going back to school, do it. You know, if it's starting some classes or starting your own business, do it. Don't be stagnated. Get out your way. That's my thing. Get out your own way. Because any of these things that we talk about today, most of the time we get in our own way. You got to have initiative.
Oh, you pulling my leg right now.
Oh, I'm pulling your leg, girl. That's a long leg from California, girl. Waiting on folks will have you, you know what waiting on folks to have you doing? Waiting more. That's what you would be doing. You'd be waiting more time. You got to stay optimistic, positive outlook. Don't allow the devil to fill your mind with doubt, because that's what another thing, doubt. You know, do you know how many grand ideas that I've had throughout life? And it just went like right out the window. Who knows? They could have been multi-million-dollar ideas by now, but we fill ourselves with doubt. We don't think we can do stuff. You know, we let people talk us out of it and say, oh, and Lord, I love my elderly, but they into their traditional ways of living. You know, if you're not a doctor or a nurse or a teacher, you talk about anything else that's out of that traditional realm, they'll try to take you out of it. I wanted to be an interior designer when I graduated from high school. I wanted to go to college for interior design, but I let my elders talk me out of it because interior design, nobody, you should go business, go to school for business, you know. So once you become motivated and about doing something, please stick to it, ladies. Don't let nobody tear you away.
Ooh.
The fourth component of emotional intelligence is empathy, right? Understanding the emotional makeup of other people and treat them according to their emotional reactions.
Yep.
Now, this picture speaks volumes because you know what? They are looking at things from each other's eyes. And that's what we have to do to practice being empathetic to people in their needs. And like I said, we all are work in progress. These are things that I'm working on as well. Because, you know, none of us is at the top of our game. I'm telling you right now, we all got room to grow. So, you know, but we got to be a little bit more empathetic. It's a crucial component of emotional intelligence because it's the ability to understand and share feelings of another person. Kindness, passion. Let's go back to kindness. We lack kindness in this world. Where is the kindness? And Lord, I hate to say it, people walking around claiming to be Christians. And I don't see a bit of kindness in them. They think people think they can say what they want to you out their mouth, and that's not true. You know what I'm saying? That, you know, we live in a diverse world now. Things are a lot different. It just is what it is. And guess what? You may not have to agree with what's going on, right? But you at least can be respectful to other people, have a little empathy. Compassion is responding to the others with concern and care. It's about giving support and assistance. And when I speak about that, I think about when I go to DC. It's a lady that sits out there. I hate to describe her like this, but she does. She's a Black woman. She looks like a witch. Her face is like painted white. And she has like this long hair. And she sits there and she, mumbles things. But one day, one of my coworkers told me walking to the train that she used to work in them very buildings that we work in. She was a professional woman, a professional businesswoman, career woman. And I don't know all the details, so I'm not going to say it because I don't want to lie. But something happened in her life that led her to being homeless. And that made me empathetic to her. When do you ever watch a movie like a bio on somebody's life and it give you a new insight? Like Elvis, I'm gonna tell you right now, I watched the Elvis movie. I seen Elvis from a different set of eyes.
Yeah.
I always had this, I was told this one thing about Elvis, he was this, he was that. But when I watched a movie about his life, it gave me a whole different perception of who he was and what he represented. And I'm like, okay, Elvis, you ain't nothing but no hound dog, crying all the time. I got you. But it was okay. But my empathy for her now, when I go to work, I feel a need to give her money. You know what I'm saying? And she'll look, and I don't give her $1, but when I do give her something, it makes my soul feel good because I'm helping her. And it's not for the accolades. I don't need to get on social media and post, hey, I'm giving a homeless person some money. It's not about that. But genuinely in my soul, it makes me feel good to be able to help somebody. So anybody want to talk about empathy?
I got something I want to touch on real quick.
All right.
So one thing that came to me when you were speaking was when you were talking about being empathetic, some people don't have the ability to do that for others because they can't even do it for themselves.
Right. Yep. Just like love. How can you expect somebody to love you that doesn't love themselves? That's like a mission impossible to me. And that's the things we got to understand. But we still have to find, like you said, set our boundaries and do what's best for us, where we're not sucked up into that pump of negativity. But so like I said, we all are works in progress. Most times you can, when you see someone, their face, you ever heard somebody say this, y'all? Well, I was just being honest. You know, how they think it's okay just because they are being honest, right?
And they really being petty, let's be honest.
But and you know when you say something that's wrong to somebody, you already know it's but just because in your mind you think because you being this honest person that you upright. No, that's not true. Don't say something that you flat out know is about to hurt this person. It's just not cool. It's different than your situation, Leah. You were doing it to help her and you were just shedding some light on a situation she didn't know. But I really don't like when people just be like, I'm just being honest. No, ma'am. Would you say how you say it, Coach Tay? No, ma'am. No, ma'am. But
no ma'am, no ham, no turkey.
No ham and no turkey. But I'm gonna get to this last component of emotional intelligence, and this is like actually one of my favorites. Oh, will it cut?
Yeah, it should now.
Okay. The last one of emotional intelligence is social skills. Okay. Everybody doesn't have social skills. Okay. It's the ability and competency that allows individuals to interact effectively and harmoniously with others. Okay. Social skills is the context of emotional intelligence referred to the abilities and competencies to allow you to interact with one another. But let's speak about how it says harmoniously. When you look that up, it's in a way that forms and is pleasing, right? Consistent, whole. It's free from disagreement, right? So let's think about, we putting all this together. Sisterhood, building relationships, networking, connecting. I know we all have that person. I don't need no new friends. I already got my circle. I don't need no new friends. I don't want it. They shutting it down. Nope. No. But let me tell y'all something. It's because of my willingness and openness to meet people and network that I'm here. Another reason why I'm here. Coach Tay and I met on the same platform with the same coach. We were under the guidance of the same coach, and we connected. We met in Atlanta for the first time in April, at the end of April. That was my first time ever seeing her, but we still made a connection. And look how we are helping each other. We are co-hosting this event, you know, our first event together. Hopefully this will be one of many, but I don't understand why people don't see the importance of connecting and building relationships, especially women. I don't know why we get this bad thing. We get this bitter lemon juice. They unapproachable. You can't talk to them. They stuff starters. They this, that. I beg to differ. You know, you can meet some incredible people if you just be willing to let your guard down. Plus, the thing is, you miss out. You miss out on opportunities. Just think, say for example, you a baker and you one of them anti-social people. No, I don't want to meet nobody else. I already got my hunt. But it's somebody out there that could help take your business to a whole different level, or could show you a technique of baking that you weren't aware of that can elevate your skills and make your product more sellable than the next bakery down the street. You just never know where your blessings are going to come from and where you're going to learn from. So you not wanting to have social skills. Think of, we were sent out at 2 years old to Head Start to develop social skills. That's why our parents sent us there. So before we go to elementary school, we would already know how to interact with kids, how to share, how to communicate. So social skills are very, very important. So I have a question for y'all, and y'all be honest, y'all don't have to come off silent, but how many of y'all right here shut down and isolate yourself from opportunities because you don't want to socialize? I'm just going to sit home and read the book, not going to go nowhere. I'm good just sitting on my porch, read my book. I don't need to socialize. Anybody here like that?
Yeah, we got a couple hands raised.
Okay. Well, don't beat yourself down, but come out that turtle shell. Take that shell off because, like I said,
give them some credit. They here, they socializing in their house.
Yeah, they're singing in the background. Yeah, but yeah, look, so networking and socializing has a lot of advantages. Like I said, I met this incredible woman. I've met several other incredible people, and I guess it depends on where you are on your journey. If you're looking to move forward and to elevate, you want to start making those connections. You have a desire to make those connections, and it takes nothing away from your circle of loved ones and your friends that you already have that's been there supporting you for years. But sometimes it's just like a coach. When you get to a certain level, they might have to pass you off to the next one because they've already carried you where you can go. Now they have to take you to somebody that can elevate you to that next level. And my friends may not have the resources or the things that I need, especially in this journey, to get me where I need to be. That doesn't take anything away from our bonds and our friendship. It doesn't devalue our relationship, but I like connecting with people and making those relationships. So I encourage you, once again, get out of your own way. Get out your own way. Get out there. And and then for you single women, such as myself, where you going to meet him at? Where he coming? Is the trash man? He gonna pick your trash up? Is that where you gonna meet him at? I'm curious to know. Yeah, maybe he might deliver your mail. You might look up and get the postman. We don't have milkmen no more, so you're not gonna get the milkman. But if you're single, ladies, and you desire and want that companionship and that, that going out on dates and doing it, you got to come outside, honey. You got all them clothes hanging in your closet, just sitting there collecting dust. Put them on. Put them on. And I'm not saying you got to step out your zone and go somewhere that's not appealing to you. but do something that you like to do. Go to a museum. I love doing sipping paints. I love doing the sipping paints. That is therapeutic for me. It's stimulating, but just come outside. Come outside and flourish. And that's what I encourage you to do. So that's where I am, ladies. I enjoy giving my portion and my segment of this Beyond the Surface. So now I'm going to turn it back over to Coach Tay. There you go, lady.
Ooh, snaps. Okay. All right, because it does go back. Is it going all the way back? The audacity. All right, all right, all right, all right. I'm a little loud. Just so I don't know. I like to get a little dramatic, but ain't nothing wrong with that. You know what I'm saying? It's a way to keep y'all up. You know what I'm saying? In a way, I regulate my nerves. All right. So a little bit about me. My name is Shantavius, y'all. Don't ask me where it came from, okay? Because I can't tell you. All I can tell you is that my father's name is Artavius, but his dad's name is Arthur. So you know what I'm saying? How we got here, I will never know. You know what I'm saying? But about me, I'm a mother. I have a husband. I homeschool. I work full time. I just started I own a small business. That's my logo on the back, Helen's Butterfly there. It's a life coaching business because I did go to college for a while. I got my bachelor's degree in applied behavior analysis because I spent about 5 years working in the clinical settings and school settings. And I decided for myself that I did not want to become a clinician just because after so long of practicing how we're taught to conduct that type of therapy, I started to realize I was losing my not my humanity, but my ability to see those who the clients as people. Like that was starting to go away because now here I got this task, we're gonna do this, that's it. You know, like there was no interpersonal relationships because behavior, I'll get into that on the next slide. And so I decided for me, I wanted more out of this. Like if I want to help people, which I've been doing all of my life, you know, for some of y'all who know me from middle school, high school, y'all would be like, this girl, wow, look at her. And you never thought that she's going through all that. I was that kid that nobody would have guessed that was going on behind the scenes. So let's get to behind the scenes. I had my first sexual abuse encounter. I was 4 years old, and it was by my mother's brother, uncle, who was supposed to protect me. Right. So with that being said, I was also born to a teen mom. My father was also a teenager. They were just kids, you know, not having fathers around. Just it was just awful. But when that thing happened to me, that's never happened to me before, you know, I told everybody the next morning, whoever came over, I just, hey, he did that. Like he came up in his room while I was asleep. He woke me up. Like he was doing this and this and that. You know what I'm saying? I'm thinking he finna get it. Like somebody finna be like, you know, whatever the punishment is, he was finna get it. You know what I'm saying? But he never got in trouble. He never got in trouble. I never heard about it again, right? And I'm looking to my aunts, my great aunts, you know, and what happened? Nothing, silence. And you know, but even with that, right? When that something like that happens to you so young, you don't know what that is, right? You know, you it's dark. First of all, it's a dark room. You were asleep, you know. And what happened is I just stayed quiet, right? I didn't know what was going on with me. I was 4. What language should I have for that? And do you know what I'm saying? I just pretend to be asleep because obviously they came in here to do that. They were hoping I was asleep. They didn't want to get caught, obviously.
Right.
So I just stay silent, right? So that's a behavior that I learned very early, you know, abuse in dangerous situation, to be silent. And as I grew up, you know, this sexual abuse, it kept coming. If it wasn't the uncle, it was older cousins, and not just the one older cousin. It was the other cousins, like everybody, you know, play house, do this, do that. I mean, it was nobody went untouched, you guys, and it's sad to say, but I'm saying we're gonna be real here because this is the reality for a lot of young women, not just young women, but I have male cousins, I have siblings who did not go untouched that are males. And but back to me though, so you know, going up through that, my first attempt on my life, I was 8 years old.
Mm.
If that will explain to you how heavy this was, I was 8 years old. The first time I really tried to kill myself, okay? And it continued till I was about 12. Well, technically, till I was 2, but around 12, I was self-injured. I was cutting, which is still, you know, an attempted suicide. Um, I was trying to take myself out. I mean, I was trying everything. I was praying to die every single night. I just did not want to be here anymore. There was no reason, or anybody could convince me there was a reason for me to continue to live until eventually, you know, I'm smart. I assume like God has a purpose for my life because nothing's working. All these pills I'm taking, they're not killing me.
Mm.
Why am I here? You know what I'm saying? But now, you know, I'm grateful to be here because I was here for a reason.
Absolutely.
And with all of that, I'm the oldest of 7 children, right? So that lady went on to have 7 or 6 other children. Different daddies, y'all. Okay. And then I'm just even questioning who my father was. It was all so identity crisis from the beginning, abuse from the beginning, abandonment, neglect, rejection. It was all there from the beginning. Obviously, multiple just events with Child Protective Services nonstop every year. By the time I was 10 years old, I went to 11 different elementary schools in 3 states. That's how unstable my childhood was, if that would make sense for you. You're 10 years old, 11 different elementary schools between 3 states. That's Louisiana, California, Texas. She was running from things that she shouldn't have been doing and dragging us along with her. And so I did not have the opportunity to develop secure relationships, lasting relationships with people. I never had a safe space. I never got to a place where I could feel safe. I never got to really be around people that I could feel safe with. It was always snatched up from me, right? And my own mother was not necessarily safe because when I would tell her, when she would have these men around or have us, you know, somebody watch us so she can go get high or whatever. And I'm like, hey, you know, your sister's husband did this to me this night. And she would tell me, I didn't know what I was talking about.
Mm.
So again, the silence, right? Again, the silence. I had no one to advocate for me, just to protect me. I had no way of doing any of that. And so I had to live life, right? The only way I knew how, you know, just try to stay out of the way, try to stay to myself. But all the while, you know, a lot of insights now that I'm not trying to get quite into, but I'm gonna get into it, y'all. I'm not gonna spare y'all none of it. So even throughout all of that adversity, I took on the role of a mother. As soon as my sister, she's here, as soon as she was born, there's almost a 3-year gap between us. As soon as she was born, I was changing her diapers, guys. So 2 years old, changing diapers, right? My friends would come over. I'm 8 years old. I'm cooking full course meals. Why? How does an 8-year-old know how to make full course meals? Simply because if I did not cook, if I did not figure out how to fry that chicken and flip them pancakes, me and my sister were not going to eat. So that's how I learned to do those things, right? So many times that chicken, you know, still had blood in it, so I had to put it back in the pan. I had to learn that the rice is still
Some people
hard.
still cook it like that.
But you know what I'm saying?
Right.
It was rough. You know, I had no choice. I had absolutely, I mean, I could have, right? I could have succumbed, but the warrior in me was just like, no, my sister's not gonna go out like that, not on my watch. You know, she's gonna eat, everybody gonna eat, I'm not gonna eat. And you know, I would go weeks without eating sometimes. When I was going to school, I was the girl with the stinky shoes on because those little pink pair of boots that I love so much, they came out of the trash can and they were some stinky things, but I wore them till they was talking and flapping their gums. I'm telling y'all. I used to get made fun of because my clothes had holes in them, you know. Like the toys, we would get them from the dumpster. Like that was the kind of life I had, but not everybody, you know what I'm saying, going to school, people don't know, they don't know that, because I was one of the cool kind of kids too. It's just the way I carried myself, you know, no one would have really thought that, because I never let anybody around me or stay in that state that I was in on the inside, right? If somebody was sad, I never let them stay sad, because I know what that's like. Nobody's gonna be like that around me. That was the kind of person I was. But inwardly, right, I had nobody taking care of me. I wasn't taking care of me. Everything was going outward. I was giving, and neglecting myself because I didn't know any better. But yeah, go to school, you know, the lunches and the stuff, I will bring them home to feed my siblings, the toilet paper, everything. I would ask the students, you're not gonna drink that milk, or the milk cartons that wasn't used, I put them in a bag, took them home. Now my sisters, you know, y'all could eat some cereal, you know what I'm saying? We just eating Kool-Aid from the packet with bologna, okay? Disgusting, but what else was there to eat? We making up stuff now, you know?
Right.
We had to get very creative. So eventually I went on, you know, had my firstborn, all of that good stuff. I went back to school, got my degree, because I'm like, you know, I really want to understand and make sense of the life that I live, right? I know psychology is all about that. It's all about putting this stuff together and how the mind works and all of that. Got my degree, worked in the clinics. I didn't quite want to take on that role because people are not subjects. They are people. We are humans. And I didn't want to lose my humanity in seeing
Right.
people anything less than what they are. And then I decided to become a life coach, which I went and got my certification in that. And then also cognitive behavioral therapy, because in my degree, we studied that. We also studied neuro-linguistic programming, which is basically how language works, which also coincides with cognitive behavioral therapy, because it's just how your thinking process. And right, and to think, you got to have language to engage in thought. So, and more importantly, I got a certificate to become a trauma-informed person, because that's one thing in my degree that was missing. They didn't really hit on trauma and what trauma naturally does to the body, and how the body naturally engages in certain physiological responses, which happens automatically. It was not until I got this certification that I understood for the first time there is nothing wrong with me. There's nothing wrong with me. What I experience, what I encounter from my experiences is natural. It's natural. All right. So that's going to bring us to how we are designed to survive, guys. Because a lot of us don't even understand that the things that people will tell us is wrong with us
Right.
is natural. It's how our body, our brain, our nervous system maintains us to survive. Like, think of an infant, right? Nobody teaches an infant to cry, but the body says, hey, you know, we need food, we need a diaper change, whatever.
Right.
It'll signal, my goodness, to cry. It'll emit that signal. The brain will, hey, the muscles, all that, get this sound out. It's automatically happening. It's something that's innate. There's no thought comes with it. So
Right.
same things with these systems. You don't think it just happens. It's automatic, right? You heard a gunshot. You don't have to tell your brain panic.
You sure don't, or duck.
You ain't gotta think of you just already you know what I'm saying. You ain't thinking about nothing. You where it comes from, where you know what I'm saying. You ain't nobody gonna tell you. That's a natural response that your body will do for you,
Right.
without your consent, without your permission.
Right.
Right. So I want to talk about behavior before I get more to the just like neurological components of how we're made and how our systems work. So with my degree, it was specifically, we study behavior, we analyze behavior. And so in this perspective, behavior is anything that's observable to the eye. So if a dead man can do it, it's not a behavior. And they use that, right? Because if somebody's dead, right, you can't read their mind. They could be thinking, right? You can't see somebody thinking, right? That's not something you can write down. What you can see them in silence, that's the observable behavior. So that's what we focused on, what was observable, right? So me speaking, that's the behavior. Not, it doesn't matter what I'm saying. What matters is that I'm engaging in speech and communication. So that is what the field was, right? So, and this is how behaviors are shaped, how they're reinforced, and how do they become habits? Because that's what happens. When you reinforce a behavior often enough, you're going to repeat it until it becomes a habit. And so there are ABCs of behavior. The A is the antecedent. So it immediately, what is going on before the behavior, which is the B part, occurs. And the C part is the consequence, what happens immediately after the behavior occurs. Now, when I say consequence, let's get out of our parenting brain. It's not the negative connotative consequence. Consequence simply means, if you look it up in a dictionary, it's just something that happens after a previous event. That's all a consequence is by itself. What comes next? What happens next? So for example, let's talk about, I'm gonna use the example from earlier, right? There's some talk, what's going on immediately, right? There's some feedback that I want to give this lady, right? She's getting the feedback, hey, this is what's being said about you. I'm kind of giving you a warning that this is what's being discussed. You're likely not going to have your job, blase, blase, the behavior that comes out. She gets tense, she's crying, right? Now, the consequence that comes after that is either going to reinforce that crying behavior in the future, the next time she's receiving feedback, or it's going to punish that crying behavior. So, and when I say punish, I mean increase or decrease the likelihood that this behavior is going to happen again. So the next time somebody comes and give you feedback, you're not going to just start crying, right? But if whatever happened after that was reinforcing, any other time she gets feedback that is unfavorable in her experience, she's going to cry every single time, because it was reinforced and reinforced and reinforced her lack of, just self-regulation, because that's really the real behavior and underlying issue, the lack of self-regulation, because she could have held that together and went to the bathroom and detoxed. And so like personal experience, let's see, oh yeah, even real stuff, right? So let's say you go on a run or you go on a walk. Me, I like to run. So let's say I'm going on a run down the street, and there's always a dog, the big German Shepherd, that be hopping over this gate, right? My behavior is either I'm gonna go straight, right? So maybe the first day I continue to go down the street. This dog comes out, oh, okay. The next day I run, I don't go down that street no more. That dog coming out punished my behavior or continue to go down that street.
Right, okay.
Because in the future, I'm not gonna go down that street so he can come get at me all crazy. But if the dog would have did that, right, and I kept going and he just turned his way, in the future, I'm likely to continue to go down that street because I know that he's not gonna do nothing.
Right.
So that's how behavior works. We have 4 functions of behavior. One of them, we do things for attention. We do things because we want something, which we call as tangible, right? We want that paycheck. We want that cupcake. You know what I'm saying? We want that body. We want that vacation, something we can have, right? The next function is
We want the man.
we want to escape or we want to avoid something. So that's another function of behavior. And then lastly, just sensory stimulation. Like, so some of us, it might be sex. It might be I'm hungry, whatever. Those are the reasons why we do the things that we do, really. And so what happens is we don't really know, we're not trained to look at things that way, right? Even with our children. I mean, some of us, we pay attention, we can know, oh, well, that cries for this, that cries for that, that cries for that, right? We want to gauge the function, right? But at some point we get older and there's less time, a little bit less patience. We don't think, why is they really doing that? Because sometimes people want to have an argument with you or come at you sideways because it's really, they just want to spend time with you. They really just want some attention, right? They're probably feeling alone or feeling a little neglected. But, maybe them just saying hi, right? You don't text back right away. So they start an argument, and now you responded more quickly because now you want to defend yourself. What happens is you're reinforcing that negative conversation that they admit to you, because that's what got them that attention that they wanted all along. So that's how that works, right? the function of the behavior doesn't change, even though the way they go about it may look different. It's just like with our children, right? They're not going to come to this parent, but I know to go to this parent. It's still the same function, right? Like, you know, they'll do something, they'll look at you, and do something they know they're not supposed to be doing. Why? Because them being calm and neutral didn't get them that attention they was looking for. But this, you're going to snap at them, you're going to, you know, discipline. That's what they wanted, attention.
Mm.
And, you know, so guess what? In the future, they're going to continue to do things like that because they know that's
Right.
what's going to give them that attention from you.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's just the same with us. And that's how easily something can become a habit over time, right? We like people, they like somebody wants to be thick, right? They like the attention, they like the compliments, right? So like people that go with the plastic surgery, they like the little compliments. It start off maybe a little decent, but oh yeah, look thick, you look, you know, yeah. Then they go do more, they get compliments, they go do more. And then yeah, that's how it's reinforced. Because why? The real reason they did it was for attention. Kim Kardashian, okay? Exhibit A.
Poor little Kim.
Oh man, I ain't even gonna get in that comment. I'm gonna just leave them alone. I'm gonna leave them alone. So just to get into more of how our body works. So if we think about like the behaviors and stuff, that's all that you can see, but we don't ever pay attention to what's really going on beneath the surface. There's so much going on beneath the surface that leads to the manifestation of these behaviors. And to put the word manifestation in its proper context is what some people don't really understand, because I don't think they teach that in school anymore, how to go look up words in a dictionary. But when you look it up in the dictionary, it means to pretty much reveal something. So it's not something coming out of nowhere. It's something that was already there being revealed, right? So if I give you a seed, I don't tell you what it is, right? How are you going to know what kind of seed it is? You have to water it. You know, you wait for the full manifestation of what this seed is.
Right.
Until apples, then you know, oh, that was an apple tree seed. That's manifestation. It's not this, you know, this is an orange that became out. No, ma'am. That's no. It's not at work. This was an apple seed. Nobody knows what's encased in that until it makes a full manifestation of what it is. That's what manifestation is the revealing of what this thing is and what this holds, right? Just like with us, we're in our shells. We're in our shells. We have things. We have so many seeds in us that some of us, you know, sometimes we just don't even give the opportunity to grow and come out so we can see, like she was saying, I had so many ideas. I don't know which one could have been a multi-million-dollar idea by now.
Right.
We don't give ourselves those opportunities to, you know, and the way I kind of describe it is it's like uncovering yourself. It's your identity. It's who you are. We don't even give ourselves the opportunity to know who we really are because we're so bombarded by who everyone else is trying to tell us that we are. And then so we walk in that identity, not us coming up out of this, what somebody else is putting us in, a little box, you know what I'm saying? We got to come up out of that and decide I'm going to be me today in every sense of it. So, and with that, like I was talking about, like with me, rejection and different things like that, that stuff hit hard. The rejection, the abandonment, it was too hard for me. And so I really want to we talked about a little bit about emotions and hormones, but let's get really into the relationship between the two so we can understand how this impacts our bodies and how this is natural. Okay. So stress and cortisol, if you have stress is like the emotion, guys. So cortisol is the hormone it's twin. So when you have a lot of cortisol in your body, you're going to start to feel anxious. You're going to be highly irritable. You get irritated real quick, and you might likely fall into depression and have this depressive moments more often. And then also, if your stress is going on even longer, like you're not even going to be able to really regulate your body. You're going to have digestive issues. You're going to have sleep disturbances. You're going to have memory problems. You're going to have a hard time even completing your thinking process. It's going to fade. It's not going to be as effective. You're going to have burnout. All of these things if you have too much cortisol in your body, especially for too long, it will impact your thyroid. So your metabolism is going to be impacted. For me, I ate so much, I can sit there and eat a whole cow and I would never gain no weight. People was always wondering, like, what is this skinny girl? Where is it going? Like the bottomless pit. Like it was just going to the black hole. You know what I'm saying? Like they were so confused, but the stress ate it all. My body just stress, tore it up. Yeah, and then there's reward and dopamine. If you guys ever heard of dope, okay, that's where it comes from because it releases dopamine into your body. And what is dopamine? It's just the chemical that's released or hormone that say, hey, this feels good. Yeah, when we have sex, you know what I'm saying? We get that orgasm, whatever. That feel good. That's dopamine is released into our system. Like this is a pleasurable experience. You know, some of us we like to drink whatever it is, it will release those chemicals into your system, right? You get rewarded, you get a certificate, you get a trophy, you get acknowledgement. It's gonna release dopamine into your system because it feels good to be acknowledged and recognized, right? Those are good things. And then we have estrogen and progesterone. You know, these are big for like reproductive and menstruation and menopause. We really deal with these things. Okay. Mood swings, anxiety, depression, okay, is very noticeable around all of those events that happen to women. These levels go up and down and we be all over the place when we're pregnant. Period time is coming up. Explain with us. This is what's going on. These hormones, okay, they messing with us real hard. And then we have love and oxytocin, right? If you're a mother and you ever breastfed or anything, like they always tell you, you know, when you breastfeed your baby, your body releases oxytocin into the bloodstream, you know, and that's how a bond is formed and different things like that. And it's referred to as the love hormone. But anytime you feel love, even with your partner, your children, or, you know, friends, it's going to release the oxytocin into your system. And then we have depression and serotonin. When I was in high school, I never forget, you know, I have the teacher, he would always refer to serotonin as the happy hormone, the happy chemical, right? So when your body's producing less and less serotonin, you're likely to be in more sadness and depressive states because this is the overriding hormone or chemical that allows you to feel happiness or a sense of just well-being, like I'm okay. When it's diminished, you don't feel okay. You start to feel and find all these problems. And so when things get out of whack, right? Because at some point, these hormones, they move around, they go up and down. You know, our diets are a big factor as well, but then also our environment and our interactions with our environment and the people around us play on it because relationships and emotions and hormones, they have almost an inverse relationship on each other, right? One is gonna activate the other, or the hormone is gonna play on the emotion, right? If you have a lot of cortisol in your body, you're not likely to really see things from a positive point of view. It's not gonna happen. You're too overwhelmed, and your brain is not gonna allow you to really experience a sense of well-being and different things like that because why? You have way too much cortisol in your system. And so these things, okay? So understand that this is what's going on how do I want to say this? On just a neurological level. So like when we get diagnosis of people with a mental illness, they get a diagnosis. And back in the day, they would tell people you're chemically imbalanced. And I mean, obviously they don't say that anymore, but this is the reason why they will tell somebody they're chemically imbalanced. They're talking about their hormones, right? You have too much of this or too little of this. And let me give you a pill to help you regulate that hormone balance, that chemical balance. So that's essentially where these mental illnesses come from. These overwhelm of emotions are out of whack. These hormones is just too much. One is there for way too much for too long, and your body is not at the capacity where it can balance it out on its own anymore. And so what happens, right? We typically end up in survival mode or flight or fight. Yeah, anybody heard of this before? Our flight or flight response. Thank you guys for being so patient. We almost there. So what happens, right? Boom. the gun goes off. You're gonna run for your life, or you gonna be like, who did that? You know what I'm saying? Like, you finna be on guard. You kind of fixated, like, I ain't running just yet. You know what I'm saying? Because this might be a problem I can solve. So, you when you flight, you're running away, you're hiding, avoidance. People tend to freeze, right? When this system, right, and it's your parasympathetic nervous system that's activated. It automatically activates. It does not need your consent, your permission. It is going to tell you you're in danger, whether the danger is real or perceived. And that is what I really, really want everybody to understand. For me, right, the rejection. At some point, rejection became so traumatic for me. Anytime, especially with my husband, right? If I text him and he's at work, he didn't text me back all day and he didn't say nothing when he came home. My body is telling me this is not safe. This is not even safe. He not for you. He not for, you know what I'm saying? Well, he probably hasn't even seen the message, but my brain is got me going off. Like, I'm gonna look through his phone before he do, like it put me, who had me going through these things, y'all. And I typically, I'm not the one that flights. I did all that as a child. As an adult, boy, I'll be ready to square up. When this part of my brain, when this system is activated, I don't run anymore. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like you did that for 15, 20 some years of your life.
Right.
And then it's my husband, like, boy, like, come on, you catching all the smoke today. But when you're running, right, what are the feelings associated with that? Fear, panic, you're overwhelmed, you're anxious. You're
Right.
anxious, and then you also feel this helplessness, like a deer in the headlights, right? You ain't supposed to be there, but you so scared you can't move. You're stuck.
Yeah.
Your body shut, like the systems, your nerve, your brain just shuts it down. You can't do nothing. And this is also something that people do, which, they will later on get diagnosed as having multiple personality disorders, or because that sense of helplessness, especially in the event of a sexual assault, they will escape mentally, which, their body is experiencing this, but they're mentally not experiencing this. And then as time progresses, as time progresses and more things like this happen, because typically it happens again and over and over and over again. And so they continue to split, and they start to learn, right? My brain is, okay, this is what I got to do to keep you safe, right? Now when I go to work, there are people that I don't feel safe by, then boom, I'm gonna become this person where I feel comfortable in. And then eventually they lose sight of who the first person, who the original is, because you start to wear so many masks to protect yourself in all these different environments, because of your flight is on 24/7 and it's not shut down. You don't know it's safe. Your body is not telling you that it's safe. You haven't told your body that it's safe yet. This is a system that it has to go through its cycle. There's no shutting it off. It has to cycle its way on through. But then as it's going through that cycle, and when it's getting ready to calm down, guess what? The next thing happens, and then it's back up and running again. And it's a never, the triggers, it's a never ending thing. It's never ending, and it's not nice. You really have to fight for this stuff. And then when you're in fight mode, you become, physical confrontation. You using strong language. You know what I'm saying? Squirrel. What you gonna do about it? You know what I'm saying? We might be scared, but look here, look, I ain't going down like no suck. We gon' that's how we gonna look. We fighting. I don't care. You gonna shoot me.
Bethany says she ready. She said she's square up with you.
That's when we in fight mode. You know what I'm saying? Same. Let's keep it on the same tone. Like if a sexual assault is about to happen, right? Somebody might be like, okay, you walking down, somebody trying to drag you to the alley. You might finna be like, you probably, in your brain, everything you scared, but you're like, oh no, like you ain't just gonna get this. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I'm coming with everything. Same situation, different responses. You're gonna be aggressive, you might be angry, you might defy it, and you might have been super scared, but you was courageous today. Like, look here, I'm gonna find some way to do something, because I just look, this ain't going down like this.
Right.
So but even still, like with that, that system is gonna have to cycle through and run its course. And so I really want people to know, because this was big for me. This was super, super big for me to understand that this was my body naturally responding to everything I had endured as a child, even as an infant, fighting for my life when I was born, being a premature child. So I already had the system activated, trying to make sure I survive, you know, because our body does that for us, right? It wants to ensure our survival. It, you know, it's something that's innate, it's something that's automatic in us, you know, and it works for us. However, our brain does not have the ability to discern a real threat from a perceived threat, right? We can get offended at somebody, right? And those emotions that are associated with the memories of being offended by somebody, our brain will pull that up and say, hey, you're in danger. This is this and this and this and this. And that's quickly, we get agitated, we ready to pop off, or we running out the building because this person is not safe. And it was never even them. It's just the history of our past experiences, because our brain is going to pull from the memory. It's going to pull out all those emotions associated with a thought or a concept of the thought, which is my next thing, is the power of language, because words all have a meaning. Words all represent and they're symbolic of something, right? And when you put words together and how you arrange them, it makes a big difference, right? If I use these three words, a dog, her, and bites. If I use those three words, okay, cool, whatever. I'm seeing a dog, I see a her, and okay, I know there's a verb, bite. Okay, but if I say dog bites her, and then if I say her dog bites, you get two completely different trains of thoughts.
Right.
Based off how I arrange those words. One, you see an aggressive dog. One, you see, okay, her dog probably bites other people, not her. But him biting her, like, oh, he's biting the owner, like that's more alarming and concerning to somebody. Like he just biting her, you know what I'm saying? You get a different thinking process. Why? And it's really just how the words were arranged, right? And so how you arrange your words affects your thoughts and your thinking processes, right? And the way you think influences your actions, and your actions, you know, obviously become your behaviors. And after so long, these same kinds of behaviors become habits. And after so long of those habits, it becomes your lifestyle. What'd you say?
They become you. It becomes a
Yes.
piece of your personality.
Yes.
You do it long
Yes.
enough, people go, oh, she's just that way. Don't pay attention to her. She does it all the time, you know. So
yes. Yes, thank you. Because that's why I try to give people, you know, we don't always think of this front way. And for me, it's a little easier because I went through the schooling. I've done this for so long. But language plays a big part. People love to talk about language and how powerful your language is. And oh, you speak this and you speak that, claim this and claim that. But which at its core, at the root, at the foundational level, it is, like she said, it's who you are, right? If I can look at you and how you speak, I already know how you talk to yourself, how you conduct yourself, right? How she said, like that coach that we found, because this coach, obviously the way she presented herself, it reflected her inner talk.
Right.
You can't be at that status that you're at with negative self-talk. You would have never got there. Right?
Right.
Without empathy, without giving yourself grace and gratitude, without valuing yourself, without putting in that work. So it's the same kind of way, which also brings into like certain people, right? I can understand that everybody's not there yet. And, you know, and people are going to get offended all the time because it's just, I like to help people. If you're ever going to have an interaction with me, guys, you're not going to be the same. If I see you exhibit something that is not really working for you, that you think it is, and, you know, it just, you know what I'm saying? And nobody has said anything like her, hey, look, I'm gonna be the one to say, hey, I'm gonna point it out. And the best way I can point it out. And I also look, you're not gonna hurt my feelings. You're gonna feel how you're gonna feel about it. And that's okay. And that's okay. I'm just trying to help. You're gonna take it how you're gonna take it, regardless. Just like I'm gonna take it how I'm gonna take it. You know, if later on my feelings is hurt, I'll go cry about it and tell my husband, man, look, this is I don't want no more friends. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But yeah, so you can reframe your thoughts, right? Change your language. Change your language. This is what people don't understand, because the connections that your brain makes influences the hormones that it releases into your body, right? And as I just showed, an imbalance of these hormones in your body can be influenced by your language. And we don't know that on our day-to-day life. You know what I'm saying? Because if we experience an emotion and however we feel like, oh, I don't like that person, right? That person starts talking, you're going to start feeling agitated, right? And then what's going to come from that? You're going to have your serotonin is going to go down. You know, your cortisol might kick up, because this agitation is stress. You know, even if it's minor, it's cortisol is being released. You're not comfortable where you're at, right?
Right.
And so just that quick, that's subtle, daily stuff. And the thing too about these chemicals, these hormones, they don't cycle themselves out of our body. A lot of them lodge on to certain parts, like, you know, our livers, our stomachs, our joints, especially cortisol, inflammation, cortisol. That stuff stays there. And that's when we start to wear and tear, burn out, you know, your thyroid is out of whack, because those hormones, that's where they go. That's where they rest in our bodies. And then obviously behavior will change. You change your language, your behavior will start to change, right? I used to quit in like certain sports or certain things. Like I would just quit. And it's like, you know, I'm not going to do that today, versus saying, oh, I could do that tomorrow. No, I'm not gonna do it today. I'm gonna do it right now. I may not want to, but I'm gonna do it anyway. When I started changing that, then when my behavior caught up to that thought and it was done, so empowering, right? And then it comes to the self-advocacy. Like I did that. Yeah, okay, don't nobody let me know. You know what I'm saying? I go up in this grocery store, I set a budget. Oh, I did that. You know what I'm saying? I fed 4 people with $150. Oh, I did that. You know, little things like that, those little small accomplishments. We as women, we don't advocate for ourselves enough, right? Because for me, right, with all the rejection and abandonment, different things like that, I kept waiting for somebody to give me permission to be me. And it's crazy, right? My business, I established it in 2022. It's 2024, and you barely hearing about it now. Waiting for somebody to give me permission to be me.
Wow.
Showing up on social media, waiting for somebody to give me permission to be me. To be me. I'm a mom. I work. I homeschool. That's me. It's not going to be perfect. I don't have the capital to have a team of people.
That's right.
That's me. That's me, and that's okay. That's completely okay. Waiting for somebody to tell me that, you know how long, like she said, you know how long I would have been waiting? To my grave. To my grave.
Get out your own way.
And I still wouldn't have believed them. You know what I'm saying? I don't have so much rejection and abandonment. I still would have been like, you lying. You like everybody else. Because that part of my brain, that fight in my brain was not having it. And then again, you know, the self-talk. And when I work with my clients, one thing I always tell them, and one thing I try to just like put on everything, is a change language equals a changed life. Because really that's what it's about, right? People look at these millionaires and billionaires, and they, when you go into these spaces with these people, they always talk about the kind of people that they talk different.
Yes, they
it's
do.
Not even necessarily that they look different. Some of them look more casual than us.
Right.
Period. But their language is different. They don't use self-defeating language. There's no can'ts in their vocabulary. It's how. When can I make this happen? How long will this take me?
Yep.
There's no doubt about it. It might take me longer than the next one, but okay, what steps that's their self-talk. It's never an underselling, a degrading of yourself, and it's empowering. And again, it's like self-advocating for yourself. Even as a mom, like, oh man, like I got my mama pouch. I'm trying to get rid of that thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
It be
Yep.
sitting there because I'm a small woman. I'm small, so when I be seeing that, I just be like, my stomach should not be jiggling about here. You know what I'm saying? I'm too small for my stomach to be bouncing and jiggling around. Like it bothers me. I hadn't had a jiggly stomach until I had children, and like, so I'm like, okay, I got stuff I gotta do, workouts. So I don't be feeling like doing it, but when I override that, like, I don't know if you guys saw, but I shared in a group where there was a day I was lifting 180-pound tire. That's almost 200 pounds. I don't weigh nowhere near almost 200 pounds. And I was struggling so hard. I was crying. I think y'all can hear me crying. I was having the hardest time, but I knew if I walked away, how defeated I would have felt. If
It's that self-motivation.
If I didn't do it, right? Because it was more than just flipping this. It was everything else. It was my business. It was my motherhood. It was my marriage. How quick am I gonna walk away when things get a little tough, or when things feel impossible? How quick am I gonna throw in the towel? How much fight is in me? Like, that was the real test. How much fight, right? What kind of coach am I to coach people and tell them to fight, and I don't even have to fight in me over a tire? You know what I'm saying? Over a tire. Like, look, I was gonna figure this thing out. Even if it took me an hour, I was gonna come back to it.
That's right.
I was really trying to figure that thing out.
But you got it over there, though.
Yes. So that's pretty much my segment. And just really remember, you change your language, you change your life. And we're gonna get into the foundations of self-care. And I'm gonna go ahead and head up to Coach Mo real quick.
Yeah, I'm gonna make this real quick because I know we've got some more the Q&A if anybody had any questions. I just have a little exercise I want everybody to do. Okay, so this is something that we learned as a kid, right? So they say, if you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. Who hands did you clap?
Yours.
Yours. It's about your happiness, honey. That's what it's about. They ain't say if you're happy and you know it, clap your children's hand, your mama hand, your man hand, your friend's hand. They say if you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. So we just got to get to that place of self-care and get out whatever this list, it goes way beyond that. But self-care is deeper than your nails and your hair and your eyelashes and getting your face beat. It's about changing things internally. And if it's a good movie, if that's what makes you happy, do it. Fun activities, hobbies, like she was saying, exercise. If you're dissatisfied with your weight, don't beat yourself up. Just start making those changes to get where you want to be. And that's as simple as that.
You just go to the next one. Okay, there you go.
Yep. So treat yourself. Treat yourself selflessly. Be kind to yourself. Love up on yourself. You only get one you. You only get one you. So love up on yourself. Embrace who God created you to be. Be compassionate. Stop beating yourself up. I know we make mistakes, but guess what? That's how we learn. That's how we grow. That's how we flourish. So stop beating yourself up and be more compassionate to yourself. And just be willing to grow. Don't be stagnated. If it's somewhere else that you feel as though you should be or you want to be, start making those steps. Take the baby steps. You can start. And like Coach Tay was saying, you got to celebrate your milestones, no matter how big or how small. Even in your house, if cleaning out your refrigerator is something you've been putting off doing for months and years or whatever, and you finally get to it and get in that refrigerator, do it with pride. Be happy that that's something you can scratch off your to-do list because you accomplished it. Don't ever, underestimate your capabilities. Yes. Keep loving up on yourself.
All right. And then this is mine. It's simple, right? So big thing, that routine. Develop a routine that's going to help self-regulate. It's going to help you advocate for yourself. It's like one of the most simple ways to get some reinforcement, recognition for yourself to start your day off. Because like I told y'all, having a baby and all that, and just everything with life, like there's sometimes like that brushing teeth thing, just even looking in the mirror in the morning, sometimes like just the that was just not there for me, because mentally, like, I did not feel valuable enough to even look upon myself. Like, who even, you know what I'm saying? Because that's what I was conditioned to believe about myself, that I was not worthy to feel nice and beautiful, because everyone had abused me, and that I just felt like trash. I didn't feel like, whatever, I was what I was on the inside. And then brings us to self-compassion, which I'm definitely more. I do that a whole lot. I give myself a whole lot more grace, even as a woman, like a mother. I homeschool, I work, just trying to balance everything out. There's demands in a business. I have to give myself that compassion. Like, you know what? You're not probably gonna be on social media every day, and that's okay. That's okay. Once a week, if you get it once a week, you get it twice a month. That's okay. That's where you're at, and that's fine. And that's why you're you. That's your story.
As long as you're persistent with that 1 week. If that's 1 week, what you do, be persistent with that 1 week.
And only, I'm gonna take it when I decide how I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna take it and run with it. Period. And then mindfulness, meditation. So a lot of the times when the hope brain is what they call them, your fight and flight is activated, you do want to ground yourself or be mindful. Like, I would have to tell myself, like, if it's somebody, if it's certain, like, maybe I'm going from one room to the next room and it goes off, I have to, okay, let me look at the walls, let me hear what I'm hearing. There's no gunshots, nobody's yelling, I'm not in immediate danger. So I would have to sit there and tell myself, hey, you're safe, you're safe, you're okay, your husband loves you, your children love you, nobody's in the house trying to kill you, girl, calm down. Whatever this is, let it ride itself through, breathe it out, move on, you're okay. And big, also, I would add to self-regulation is boundaries, not just your own personal boundaries, but boundaries with other people, making sure, because sometimes we set boundaries, but we don't maintain them. We allow people to overstep, and then we get out of order real quick. And it takes us how long to get back regulated?
Yeah.
It take too long, because we shouldn't even been having this conversation with you in the first place. You should not have even been able to come up over here in the first place.
Right.
So set them and keep them. It might seem hard. Use that block button. Say what you got to say. Block on everything. I mean, I've deleted Facebook so many times. Like, people are like, I thought you were dead. Like, no, like, y'all just, I just, it's none of your business. You know what I'm saying? If I want you to know, I'll let you know. Tired of y'all feeling entitled to my life. You know what I'm saying? I need some me time this time. And journaling is big. So big, especially when you want to, let's say we in denial about how we talk to ourselves and our self-talk, journal. It's going to slap you in the face so hard, because there's sometimes I wanted to pop off on my husband, but I was like, I'm going to write this down. Like, he going to read this. And then I read it. I was like, oh, nobody needs to see that. I was so embarrassed. Like, I wrote that down. I couldn't.
Thank God for the paper intercepting.
I can't. I was sitting there like, who is this person? Like, I was, what? That came out of me? Oh,
you
journal, because you're gonna be sitting there like, I was really thinking that. And I really, at that time, was thinking that made perfect sense, and it was just right.
Right.
When, woo, I'm telling you.
And you can't unsay something once you say it, right? Once the words come out, you done said it now.
And then we be sitting trying to apologize the rest of our lives.
Right.
I didn't mean, no, I meant at that time, I meant every P, and you knew I meant it. I will not ever tell you I didn't mean it, because I don't say stuff I don't mean. I'm just not that person. I don't have it in me. And then you want to build safe social connections. So like this, right? Even if it's a coach, you want to find somebody that you can, you build some kind of rapport with, some kind of group. And I mean, I'm not going to recommend Facebook groups, because it just be too much going on up over there all the time. And I just don't have time for that. I don't. But which would bring me to, how you guys can get in contact with us, right? If you guys feel like we're a safe space with you guys, this is my information. Screenshot it, or write it down. I'm likely going to send you guys like a follow-up email as well with this information, so you guys don't miss out on it. But yeah, because we're still in the works, right? We're getting out of our comfort zone. We're doing everything that we told you guys to do.
Yeah, we
So
doing
it's
everything,
coming.
investing in ourselves and everything, right?
It's coming. And then here's Coach Mo's information. And as
Yeah,
it continues to
I'm
come,
still the baby in my infancy stages, so I'm building. So these are ways you can contact me, but I am working on getting my business handles established. So for those in the future, but she has everybody contact.
yes, yes. And I mean, that was all that we have for you guys right now. I appreciate you guys so much for
So much.
just having the
Yeah.
grace and sticking it. Let me see, read this because I didn't even see this. Otherwise, yes.
Oh, someone has a
yes.
question.
Okay. Okay, well, we'll definitely talk, Bethany. We will definitely talk. We will talk a lot because I'm definitely open to that. And yeah, so I mean, anybody want to share some takeaways? This is our first one. It was a lot of nerves, guys. We put this together like within a week, not even